Charlie Munger talked about a number of issues, including the economic bubble to rising share prices to Chinese economy. Talking about the alleged excess in the system, Charlie said that it's most egregious in the momentum trading by novice investors lured in by new types of brokerage operation like Robinhood. All of this activity is regrettable. Civilization would do better without it. You will remember that when the first big bubble came, which was the South Sea bubble in England back in the 1700s, it created such havoc. Eventually, when it blew up, that England didn't allow hardly any public trading and securities of any companies for decades. Therefore, it just created the most unholy mess. So human greed and the aggression of the brokerage community creates these bubbles from time to time. Wise people just stay out of them, as per Charlie. Munger began his attack on current economic conditions at the Daily Journal annual meeting by attacking SPACs for those that haven't caught on to the new game in Wall Street yet. SPAC abbreviates Special Purpose Acquisition Company. These are large cash generators that enjoy bypassing the roadshows and pesky bureaucracy of initial public offerings. The purpose is to locate a private company to purchase and take public without classic restrictions. Money accumulates months before the mystery acquisition target is identified, earning the nickname black check companies. A downside in SPAC is that because they are blank check companies that don't have the red tape of classic ways of introducing companies like IPOs, you have to completely trust the person in charge of the SPAC to execute his job in good faith. The old warning, absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's home to some people here who have compared the likes of Chamath Palihapitiya, who is considered the king of SPAC, to Enron. You can count Charlie Munger among those who oppose SPAC. He declared the world would be a better place without SPAC and thinks its recent popularity boils down to crazy speculation. That speculation creates potential to cause an irritating bubble, according to Munger. Ultimately, he sees SPAC as just a means for investment banks to sell shares that should not be sold. Keeping with the tepid theme of out with the new, Munger doesn't think bitcoins will shine on either, like many people in favor of classic instruments of conducting business transactions, that is cash, credit cards and old school checks. Munger doesn't believe Bitcoin will become the new medium for economic exchange around the world. One point that certainly isn't debatable is Bitcoin's wild volatility that Munger thinks is too much. It's hard to see the other side of the coin on that point given the price of Bitcoin fell 50% in just May. Its total market value is hundreds of millions below its $1 trillion peak in the spring. Munger says that Bitcoin reminds him of iconic playwright Oscar Wilde's comment about fox hunting. His 1893 play, A Woman of No Importance, includes the line, "The unspeakable in full pursuit of the uneatable." Munger recommends that investors do not buy Bitcoin or gold. Munger calls it a misplaced concern that the rich have become richer during the pandemic. Munger says the rich becoming richer during the pandemic is an accidental byproduct of trying to save the world economy and civilization. If we can't go for SPAC, Bitcoin or gold, what about stocks? Since we have been on a stock bull run so long, there are many investors who are riding momentum trades which drives stock prices up. Of course, the market always corrects itself, and as Munger's billionaire buddy Warren Buffett warns all the time, stock eventually reverts to their intrinsic value. Fortunately, with interest rates at historically low volumes, people are barely earning anything due to interest rates. So investors largely elect to hold their wealth into stocks. Munger defends value investing to the end. When we break down his portfolios out of Berkshire, they are incredibly lean. Classic investment wisdom pleads with us to diversify to mitigate systematic risk. Munger breaks down from that tradition, feeling that a slim portfolio sticks to what you truly know best, which avoids getting watered down. What's not so funny is that with the stock market, housing market, Bitcoin, electric vehicles and SPAC all riding giant tidal waves recently, the word bubble keeps getting thrown around. Other than the financial crisis, perhaps the last time such strong speculation made waves in the economy was the 1990s tech bubble. Charlie obviously lived through that and thinks history is repeating itself. He thinks things will end badly, but is not sure when hell will break loose. Mungo shelters most of the Daily Journalism Corporation portfolio in Bank of America Corporation. Ticker symbol backed the banking giant rings up an appropriately large 45.15% of the whole portfolio at 2.3 million shares valued at almost $89 million. The Bank of America is fittingly the largest in the nation. According to the company, it has more than $2.5 trillion in assets. The bank serves more than 65 million consumers across the country and actually is in the top 15 in worldwide market cap, the stock numbers show. Bank of America's year-to-date return on the stock price as of this writing is over 37, outperforming the S&P 500 by over 22. The Daily Journal Corporation portfolio sees back-to-back banks. Wells Fargo, like many big banks, emphasizes share repurchases. The big bank plans to buy back a big amount of $18 billion of stock in the coming 12 months. That move demonstrates confidence in the future of a company's share price and an internal commitment to furtherment, which is good for us. Between buybacks and dividends, Wells Fargo could return about 10% of its current market value to holders in the next year. What's also encouraging for Mungo and other investors is that Wells Fargo doubled its dividend to 20 cents per share recently. Albeit 20 cents per share isn't a terribly high dividend, corporations are not obligated to share earnings with stockholders. So voluntary dividends serve a useful purpose in looking at the persistence of profitability. Rising dividends reflect rising profits. So companies that consistently increase dividends theoretically enjoy rising share prices over time. Optimism is the key word. Same can't be said for Alibaba. Ticker symbol BABA, the Daily Journal Corporation's third largest position, interlocks in a game of political chicken with China that could run over the investment of about $37.48 million spent to acquire 165,320 shares, which is 19.02% of the portfolio. One of Alibaba's ventures is Ant Group, which owns digital payment platform Alipay, which serves over 1 billion users and 80 million merchants. The ultimate goal is to revolutionize China's banking system, giving more power to users and digitalization rather than overpower traditional bankers. Ant Group Alibaba prepared to launch the biggest IPO ever when Alibaba President Jack Ma announced that he cut a pro-wrestling-esque promo on China. Much like a pro-wrestling storyline, he mysteriously went missing afterwards for 3 months and everything plummeted. Though Alibaba has made a bit of a comeback, the Chinese government cracked down on tech companies with heavy regulations, including an anti-monopoly investigation against Alibaba that scared off many people. But this is actually a new position in Mungo's portfolio. Analysts using advanced metrics such as Seeking Alpha's website continue holding Alibaba in high regard. So guys, here is the end of this beautiful information. If you like this info, then please like this video, tell me in the comment section below, and also most important part, subscribe to this channel. I'll catch you in my next video. Till then, have fun.